Alright, the obvious thing to be curious about is, of course, the church. So let's go take a look at this place. What do you have inside?
Send us a sign, Lord. We need a sign from you.
Hey, wait a minute. I know that voice.
Are we guilty of arousing your rage? Did we do it? Speak with your tongue of fire, Lord. Purge us with unrelenting justice. Send us a sign. Is this our doing? Are you punishing us for our arrogance? Unleash your thunderous voice, Lord. Release us from this intolerable uncertainty. Did we do it? Send us a sign.
I'm getting a strong impression that man's a fanatic and a little bit deranged. But his sermon made me curious. What could he mean by, we did it?
The ruins of the temple, the lion above the flames. We still have time.
Oh no. It's starting again. It's amazing. Everything's changing. Everything. Everything is mutating. And I haven't even moved. I don't understand. I don't understand anything.
Interesting. I thought we were dealing with the future when everything's desolated and gone, but this time we saw the repaired version of the church. And we saw that same, I think it was the same old lady that's in the front row, but she looked possibly younger, but she was here alone instead of the place being filled with people like it is now. I'm starting to wonder if we're starting to travel into the past. What if we eventually, and like we're talking about, like this person's supposed to be crazy, suggesting that, whoa.
Oh no, here comes that sensation again. It's like floating in a dense liquid, while everything around me is transformed.
So our character thinks that this guy sounds crazy. He thinks that he's the weird one, but he's also suggesting that we did something. I'm wondering if we're gonna find out over time that we caused this entire calamity. Well, I mean, of course we did. But I wonder if we're gonna find out the cause of the calamity in its specificity. And what if these little jumps into the past actually can lead to us changing the future and changing where we are now? Can't talk to that guy. Oh, what am I highlighting?
The remains of the stained glass window that went with the intact one on the other side of the door of the church. The great wave must have shattered it. In fact, there are still a few glass shards scattered on the floor.
They call it the Great Wave. I kind of wonder if it's like a global EMP blast if it took out all of our technology. Oh, I can pick up glass shards. This sounds like a good safe idea. Welcome to my inventory, glass. So I've got the mole's bracelets, glass shards in our notebook, so not a lot, basically.
The only statue in this place still standing. It's Saint... what's his name? Patron saint of... who knows what. I'm afraid that if I ever was a believer, all that information has also been blanked. The catastrophe caused a lot of damage to the statue's pedestal. The fact that the statue is still standing is a miracle.
It looks pretty damaged. It might have not been standing. Followers might have propped it back up, judging by how easy it seems to be able to fall over. Am I going to break this thing on purpose at some point? Is that where this is going? Also, interesting that they've sidestepped the question of the main character's religious beliefs by suggesting that if he ever was a believer, it was blanked when he lost his memory.
Considering the condition of the rest of the church, it's amazing that the stained glass window is still in place and practically intact. Such little light that gets in from the street gives it a ghostly appearance. This column fragment must have fallen off one of the walls during the catastrophe. Now it's keeping the pedestal of the statue company.
The ruins of the temple, the lion above the flames.
So here's our crowd.
A few parishioners listen to the words of the preacher, mesmerized. Although I'm sure that, like me, they can't decipher the meaning of his mystical rants either.
It's always a reoccurring thing in disaster fiction, is the idea that a bunch of people suddenly all congregate to the church that otherwise weren't going before, which is shown by the fact that when we went seemingly back in time, this lady, or someone that looks comparable, was the only person in the entire church There wasn't even somebody preaching. She was just alone, but the place was completely packed. And I don't think this is a Sunday. I think this is just packed all the time now.
We still have time.
Seated on these disarranged pews, some people are listening to the preacher. Others just nod off. I guess they don't have anywhere else to go.
Hey preacher, why don't you fix the pews? I assume they're not screwed into the ground. They're just benches of wood. You should fix them. You just have to slide them a little bit. It's not that big of a deal.
That must be Reverend Blake, the preacher I heard about in the camp. I don't understand a word of that man's sermon. And I'm afraid the other faithful don't either. Could that be the reason why everyone reveres him so much? I'm not going to interrupt him in the middle of his sermon. That would be rude.
I know what to do. We'll throw glass at him. That's not an interruption.
It's just a handful of glass shards. I don't think anyone could be very interested in them.
And yet they're in our inventory. Funny how that works out, huh?
Is
there anything else to look around for? Don't see a lot going on in here. There's pews. I'm not seeing collectible types. Is he gonna shout at me when I try to leave? Nope. Maybe it was just all meant for that moment of recognition and nothing else.
A metal sign bolted to the wall. It's the logo of the local subway system. And from what I can see, one of the edges is slightly detached.
There's something hidden behind it then.
Let's see. I can try to rip it off. Nothing. I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to get it off with my hands.
So I need to get a pry bar, and with that pry bar I'd be able to check out what's inside there. Where am I going to go if I click here? Just around the corner? Hello. So that's a guard tower to some compound. I don't think it's the one that I came from. That was because I was off in the distance.
It's one of the ways into the city's sewer system. The Great Wave wrecked this place. Did the same thing happen down there? A bucolic fountain covered with ivy and moss. The park's desolation gives it an air of mystery from this side of the fence. In its day, it must have been home to a school of goldfish, which I suppose are now gradually decomposing inside it.
Wow. It just had to go there, huh?
Southside Park. Would you believe it? This must be the famous Suicide Park I've been hearing so much about. Huh. The pun is as witty as it is macabre. Closed for public health reasons is written on this piece of wood nailed to the stump. Wait a minute. Health? With no A?
Listen, research has degraded a bit over time.
Judging from its girth, this giant must have lived for hundreds of years before someone got the bright idea of cutting it down. Now the stump is guarding the entrance to the park. It's rather disconcerting to see such a small building surrounded by such extreme security measures. Could this be the medical center people have been telling me about?
Closed for public health reasons when it's the place where everybody kills themselves.
This fence protects the compound on all four sides. As impenetrable and menacing as the one around the refugee camp. It seems like barbed wire barricades are the only architecture possible in this new world.
That's not a great sign for everybody, is it? Our society is degraded to like the only thing being constructed is more and more barriers to keep people out of places.
So, let's see. Impossible. It's not that it's super heavy. It's that there's hardly any place to insert your fingers to lift this manhole cover.
They probably could have done without that animation where he very clearly lifts it by so much that he would have been able to open it with no problem. Let's just assume it didn't move, and it makes more sense. So now I have two things that will likely require a crowbar or some variation thereupon. Oh. Oh. Two new things.
A piece of wood with a handwritten sign. Closed for public health reasons. Judging from the handwriting and the spelling mistake, I assume the author of the message was one of those animals in uniform. The nails that held up the sign announcing the closure of Suicide Park. They're incredibly rusty. But considering the epidemic of the dissolved, tetanus is the least of my worries at the moment.
What if I could use the plank to pry it somehow?
Use this here? How?
You know what? I'm being inventive. You just gotta trust me for a moment. Maybe you could stick a nail into the hinge? No, there's no hinges, but into what, a crack?
Best not to waste time trying to nail this here.
Nope. I think we need a literal crowbar. Let's find out what happens when I approach this place.
I can't see any entrance for pedestrians from here, which would seem to indicate that you can only get inside the compound through that barrier.
Please don't shoot me. Whoa, how tall am I? I'm not really scaling properly as I approach this thing, am I? Oh, there we go.
This entrance is reserved for authorized motor vehicles only. Get away from it. Move on.
What the hell? Those savages don't get around. I'd better avoid getting too close to that area, at least on foot.
They went from 0 to gunfire very quickly. Oh, the fish are actually an item.
You can smell these dead creatures from several yards away. I have no intention of picking up those rotten fish with my hands, to say nothing of putting them in my pocket.
But it still has a grabbing animation. I'm curious to see if we'll get like a bag I can put them in or something.
The park is closed down, and the front gate is locked shut. If I want to get in there, it won't be through the gate.
Obviously, first I need to find an actual use for a goldfish in the first place, but it's an adventure game, just looking for items in general. You never know. I'm already carrying broken glass for some reason. There's a rat down here.
What was formerly the entrance to a subway stop is now a bunker reinforced with bricks and cement. A moldy sign says, "Subway service suspended until further notice." I imagine the train tunnels were flooded or ruined after the Great Wave.
So that's where the stairs used to be that went down, huh? Or is that what I'm seeing back here, I think? No, that's a wall, because that's signs there. So it must be right here. There must have been stairs. Can I go over here behind the church? No? So what happens if I try to go vaguely towards those guards? How dead am I going to be?
It's the silhouette of the soldiers guarding the street from around the corner. It seems like those uniformed psychopaths' rifles are projected onto each and every corner of the city.
Can I go there? No shooty? Nope, can't really go over there. Okay, so I need a plan. There's a traffic light up here.
Without electricity and surrounded by ruins, this traffic light hanging here is as useless and depressing as an unfunny clown.
Let's see. I'd almost expect to be able to drop the traffic light on somebody in an action segment. That often happens sooner or later in these games. Can I ask him for his bolt cutters? That wouldn't help with either of the things I'm trying to do, though, actually. No, we do need a crowbar, probably. Alright, so if we only have a 3-screen situation and not much interaction to do, next conclusion is try to use the items we just found, because we have a few objects now. So let's try the plank to pry again.
I don't think I'd gain anything by using this here.
I still think the plank's going to be used for prying something. What else would I use wood for? It's not. I can't make a bridge out of it. I doubt I'm going to want to make a sign of my own. This thing was mobile. It's like the only other thing to try. Alright, we're already desecrating a church. Episode 5.
Let's see. If I wedge one of the ends of the plank under the statue's pedestal, the other part will rest directly on the base of the toppled column.
Illuminate us with your fiery voice, Lord. Send us a sign. We're waiting, Lord. Did we do it? Illuminate us. Send us a sign with your just and vengeful arm. Is this our fault? Listen! It's the fiery breath of God! The Lord has sent us his sign! And I was right! It is all our fault! We did it, and we have aroused his fury!
But what the hell's going on here?
Look! That's the sign! Forgive us, Lord! Forgive us! Repent, all ye sinners!
It's the atmospheric phenomenon I've been hearing so much about. That infernal sound coming from the crack in the sky. It's terrifying.
That is the sign! We did it! Forgive us, Lord! Forgive us! My children, God has spoken to us with his darkest voice. Haven't you heard him? But there's still time. All is not lost. We still have time. Salvation lies in the place where it all began, in the ruins. at the source. We must return to the ruins of the temple. We must return. We must.
Well, he got oddly dark all of a sudden. Did he? Is he just gone? He's gone. He just disappeared. So he was taking off to some ruins then because he thinks that this was a sign. And I can get bigger glass now.
Among all the fragments of the stained glass window scattered on the floor, there's one big piece of glass. Well, look at that. Next to this enormous hunk of glass, the colored glass shards I picked up earlier look ridiculous. I'd better get rid of them.
Why did I do that? Okay. He's got a really strange collection going on here where he's replaced his small shards of glass with bigger ones. Oh, there's Reverend. It's like his inventory of glass that we don't currently know what we're gonna do with yet is leveling up to the higher level versions. I guess I mean I play Pokemon Go, so I can't really make fun of him because I also collect things that don't do anything and then get higher level versions.
Reverend Blake is totally overwhelmed. It looks like the crack in the sky is having a profound effect on him. The man's message intrigues me. We did it. We did it. Hello. I heard your sermon and...
Yeah, God has shown us his sign. He has finally spoken to all of us. With his thunderous voice, he has revealed the unknown. We did it. It's all our fault. We did it. But there's still time. All is not lost. There's still time to avoid it. The head of the lion above the flames holds the key to everything.
But what is it we did?
Time is the will of God. It is his heart and his hammer. The centuries and the ages belong solely to him. The celestial empire is a divine clock. Time rotates around God. Its hands are his angels and archangels. Now I see it all clearly. How could we have been so stupid? Our arrogance had enraged him. That's what we did.
This man is definitely crazy. Nothing he says makes any sense.
I beg you, leave my brother in peace. He's very upset.
Tell me, what is it that we can still prevent?
The wrath of God, the destruction of man. There's still time. We did it, but we still have time. The key is in the ruins of the temple. We have to find the ruins of the temple. Look for the head of the lion above the flames. Bring me the head of the lion above the flames while there's still time.
But this church is already in ruins. It hardly has any walls or a foundation left. You're already in the ruins of the temple.
No, you're mistaken. Bring me the head of the lion above the flames.
That's enough. Stop tormenting my brother. He's exhausted.
The head of the lion above the flames? That sounds absurd. It makes no sense. I think it's best that I leave you in peace.
Yes, leave my brother in peace.
There's still time. There's still time. Bring me the head of the lion above the flames.
There's a bit of darkness. So she's staying here constantly, not necessarily because of her faith, but because she's looking over her brother that is taken to preaching in the church that she used to go to. Because he may even be deranged, or at least she seems to think so. Let's see. A lot of updates here. Wow, everything's getting updated here. So the mole's sons accomplished the mission I gave them. I think the kids deserve a reward. Misha will give me what she owes me when I get to the morphine to ease her husband's pain. Rose knows a secret about me from before the Great Wave. How could she have that information, and what could it consist of? Bring him the head of the lion above the flames? Reverend Blake is even crazier than I thought. And these strange visions and the same female voice that woke me up. What could Beechwood Oracle mean? So I can play this?
Oh, my head! What the hell's going on? Oh, God! My head feels like it's gonna explode!
Michael, please, help us! Help us! Please, remember, Beechwood Oracle.
Repent! It's the sun! Was it our fault? Did we do it? Yes! We did it!
Enough! Please! Enough!
Please, Michael, help us. Only you can do it. Remember, Beechwood Oracle.
Good God! What are these images? And that woman's voice? It's the same one that woke me up in the trailer. I'm trying to remember! Stop tormenting me! I hope Rod helps me find some answers. If not, I'll go mad. Absolutely mad.
Right. That's what he meant when he said he recognized the voice, because the preacher's voice is the same voice we heard during that vision. That was the same moment. We just had the live version of it instead of the future version of it. Okay, so what do I do now? Subway entrance. All I have is glass. The problem is I haven't found a use for glass yet, or nails, really. I'll keep looking around. This is the place, right? Damp soil.
Strange. The soil here seems darker and less packed than the soil around it. In fact, the mud in this part of the ground is a bit damp and mushy. My fingers even leave marks in it when I touch it.
Are we about to sneak into the suicide park? It seems to share a wall with the medical facility, so we could probably sneak into it if we had access to the other side of the fence. So is that what the glass panes are for? Are we going to try to dig with it? It is thick. I wonder if it's quote-unquote thick, jagged pieces of glass. Can it still cut you well, or is it too thick at that point? Either way, let's give it a shot, because it's apparently big.
I'll do this very carefully, so that the glass doesn't break in two. Perfect. The hole I've dug is big enough to get to the other side of the fence.
That was the solution? What about you?
What for? I'd only end up breaking the glass, or even worse, cutting my hand with it.
Alright, never mind then. Why did you need to use a big shroud of glass to cut a hole? Couldn't you just use your hands if it was already leaving a mark? Oh, adventure games. Just got to accept it sometimes, huh?
Good God. There are dozens, hundreds of corpses hanging from the branches. What could have drawn all these people here? What kind of pain? What kind of desperation brought them here? These are the corpses of ordinary people who were living their ordinary lives in their ordinary little worlds up to a very short time ago. Could any of them have imagined meeting an end like this back then? Forgotten and nameless, swaying in the breeze like marionettes. And all those savages in uniforms did was close the park. They didn't even bother to cut their bodies down from the trees. I'm afraid that tonight, there are too many dark stars to count in Suicide Park.
That's pretty dark. So they, I'm kind of curious. It's morbid to think about, but would rigor mortis? I don't know much about rigor mortis. Would the limbs be swaying around like that? That seems like it seems like the other ones are more accurate, where they're just kind of rocking in place, but the body parts aren't moving. Not that it matters too much. Oh, crowbar. Well, obviously I need that. We've been over that, but I've got to bring down a hanged man to do so.
Although the crows have already done a thorough job on him, from what's left, I'd say that the corpse belongs to a young man, barely of legal age, one of the many dark stars in the park. That strikes me as disrespectful, and I don't think it would do anything for me.
And yet you did it. You should have said that before you did the action. I didn't know if we were going to be able to search for something. Oh.
Wait a minute. That guy is the suicide victim who was hanging from this tree. No, don't do it, please. No! Good God, I saw him hang himself.
Yep, this power would be rough to have.
An iron crowbar buried like a stake. Right now, the other end is around the neck of a corpse.
Whoops. Well, we saw the beginning and end of the tale of that hung man. Whoops. Unpleasant times all around. And the concept of the dark stars being a series of floating corpses suspended by the trees is a morbid metaphor on its own.
This vegetation is so dense that all you can see are some flattened metal posts in there. There's no doubt that nature has taken over this corner of the city. So much so that I'm afraid that this is the end of my little stroll. It's impressive. The park was able to devour the fence effortlessly. The metal bars became like plasticine, molded by the whims of the vegetation. Wherever I look, I see corpses hanging from these branches, some so recent that the shadows of their faces make it seem like they're following you with their gaze.
There's a lot of them here. Interesting that this one comes up as interactive. Can you burn your way through for some reason? Later?
The trees and bushes are so close together here that I can hardly push the branches to one side with my hands. The thorns in these bushes are jabbing into me like metal spikes. I'm not going to be able to open up a path this way.
But I get the feeling we will later. The fact that it's interactive and the fact that he tried for that long, apparently. I think we'll be able to... Maybe we'll get a fire axe or something at some point. Maybe I could have tried the crowbar? I'm going to focus on the obvious use of the crowbar first. The one where that made me guess a crowbar was going to exist before I saw one.
Maybe with the help of the crowbar, I can get the subway sign off the wall. Damn it! I've managed to tear it down, but the subway sign is broken in two.
Oh, that's it? Huh. Honestly, I thought that the subway sign was dented and bent and stuff. I thought there was a hole in the wall and people were stashing stuff behind the sign. Now it's just joining my inventory.
A subway sign split in two. That's what happens when you try to rip something off a wall without the right tools.
Did I make a mistake here? Should I have tried to unscrew it or something? I suppose we'll see. How about using you on you?
I'm afraid I can't do that.
Then let's try the more obvious thing, which is the crowbar for prying.
The crowbar fits perfectly into the hole in the manhole cover.
Almost as if it was designed for this exact purpose. Huh. That was weirdly not animated, huh?
It's one of the ways into the city's sewer system. The Great Wave wrecked this place. Did the same thing happen down there?
Geronimo! He was never seen again. Roll credits.
Wait a minute. I'm not going to climb down any further. It's totally dark in there, and it would be crazy to go into these sewers without any light.
Did not think about that. So add that to the list of problems. We need a light source when we go down there or we're going to be in trouble. Next thing that comes to mind, there's fire. Maybe I could burn the sign and carry it over there? Oh wait, I didn't take the sign with me, did I? Might be able to still pick it up. I don't know if this guy's gonna, if they're gonna go full Guybrush Threepwood though and have me activate something and then carry it across the area while it's actively being corroded. Let's try crowbarring.
I agree that violence is sometimes the shortest path between 2 points, but considering how heavy this padlock and the chain are, I'm not sure that brute force is going to help me open this door.
You just gotta think creatively.